Dustin Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dustin Rider here with my review of the Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel mid-season finale. I just do the quotes because, I mean, it is the mid-season finale, but other than the last 5 minutes, this isn't like, you know, an episode that was made to be like, oh, let's go all out. It was like, let's go tiny out in the last 5 minutes. But so yeah, this is the last episode before the hiatus. So now for the summer we have looking forward to people complaining about a long hiatus for a show they don't like, and complaining about international spoilers. Like it's the first time it's happened, even though we're going on almost 10 years of this. But anyway, that's for another video. So yeah, this episode was like 90% a filler plot, and then like the last 5 minutes was Madam Odious' plan suddenly coming together. And I wasn't sure how this was all going to play out because we knew we were going to reach the hiatus, so I wasn't sure if we were going to leave off like at the beginning of her plan, at the end of her plan, or just like, you know, in the middle of it. Like, you know, next episode after the hiatus will be when we pick up the plan. But basically they like fast-tracked it. So it was weird, but I have a lot of problems with it. Like, it was an okay episode. I mean, the filler stuff was bleh. But, you know, the last 5 minutes, sure, it's cool. Like, oh no, there's a Megazord, and our Zords got destroyed, and our Power Stars are fried, and cliffhangery setup. Sure, that was fine. I'm not saying that was bad, and I'm not trying to take people's excitement away of it, but it's just the way it was handled overall was so poorly done. I've kind of talked about it on and off over the last few weeks since we started this Galactic Warriors storyline, if you could call it that, where, and even I gave it sort of a little praise of like, hey, there's a cool little foreshadowing nugget, which I thought was nice. But it's so weird when I talk about this stuff because it's like the context. Like a lot of the things that I'll draw attention to for Ninja Steel for positive points in the reviews are stuff that would just be par for the course in any other show. Like it should just be normal. And instead, like, Ninja Steel does something minor and they get special attention just because they can't seem to do anything minor. But the point is that this Galactic Warriors storyline should have had a better build-up. Like, part of the quote-unquote shock value of the ending was that everything was just so normal status quo, and then they get attacked. So I get that, but there should have been a better way to do it. Like, we were introduced to the Galactic Warriors, and the only big deal ever made about them was the fanfare they got on the Galactic Warriors show to the villains, and then, you know, the scenes of Madam Odious' secret plan. But to the Rangers, they barely knew they existed. The only acknowledgement I can remember, I think, was last week's episode. I think it was last week's, might have been the week before, but I'm pretty sure it was last week's, where they just said, hey, that guy's wearing the same school ring. You think that's anything? Like, oh no, it's probably nothing. Let's worry about this camping trip. Stuff like that bothers me because not only does it not make the plot feel like cohesive and real, but it makes the Rangers feel stupid. Like, I mentioned, I think it was last week or in another video, how I hated how they never discussed Heckle being like a spy. But like, after they sort of flagged that Galactic Warrior stuff and whenever they found out about it, they never really talked about it or seemed to care. And there's a way that you can do a big show of making that the plot and then sort of do your of the week stuff, but have it feel like it's running in the background, you know? Because outside of those few acknowledgments, to the Rangers and to us, these guys never really felt like that big of a threat other than a monster of the week. Like, they weren't really that much stronger, honestly. It was just par for the course stuff. So that should have just been handled better. They should have made a bigger deal about it where the Rangers were like, oh no, we're facing these super strong warriors now. Like, we gotta be on our toes because they're like elite sector. And then, you know, in this episode, you're like, yay, we defeated all of the elite sector guys. Look how good we are. And then Madam Odious is like, boom, joke's on you. The Nacho line was here all along. No, that's a random reference. But, you know, joke's on you. That was part of the plan. And even as I'm saying this, the stuff I would do to fix it just makes it a paint by the numbers Power Rangers storyline. But I would take that over basically this whole plot with the Galactic Warriors felt like the B plot. Even in this episode. This was the last 5 minutes. Now I get the point of the cliffhanger, but it felt like a B plot, and this should have been the A plot. They should have started off with it in the forefront, and then it could kind of be in the background. You know, you have your slice of life stuff, but you know, then when the monster stuff comes up, you're like, oh yeah, we're still facing the Galactic Ninjas. But this felt like all the stupid stuff and moral lessons were front and center, and in the background was this tiny conflict. And so, like, this didn't have the impact. Like, this episode embodied that because it was supposed to be this big episode. And like I said, it would have been better if it would have been about defeating the last Galactic Ninja, and then you think we've got a victory, but oh no, now we're dialed back because we really didn't win because we played into her hands, instead of it being, oh my god, I can't admit I didn't steal the compass, integrity, and camping. And why was this camping trip so coveted? Like, they could have just been like when Brody couldn't go and they're like, oh, we won't go. He's like, no, you guys go. You've been looking forward to it. Why don't you just all go on your own on the weekend? It's camping. Calm down, Greg. It's camping. Like, that was stupid. That whole thing was stupid, and that was like the core of the episode. And yeah, it kind of like epitomized what they've been doing. It bothers me because this could have been better. It could have been a little mini arc that could have been satisfying. And even though the last 5 minutes were more quote-unquote exciting, it just kind of represented how terrible they did at stretching the storyline out that could have been at least a semi-memorable arc. And I also kind of hated how any sort of sense of progress they had going for it was just kind of rushed. Like, they kind of had like, oh, okay, he's destroyed, I got his power, he's destroyed, I got his power. And then at the end, Madam Odious is just like, oh, give me that. Like, I can't wait for you to be killed. I'm just gonna, and then it makes you question, why didn't she just ask him for it in the first place? Why didn't she be like, hey guys, if we use all your stars, I can make a super powerful robot that can destroy the Rangers. And then, if you all get gigantified with me, that's like 5 against 1, and we can just demolish them. But no, we gotta fight one at a time and get them. It's just, I get it, it's Power Rangers, there's a lot of stupid stuff like that happens, but the whole, you know, oh, here, I'm just gonna take it. It seemed like they were trying to rush it, like, oh crap, this is the episode before the hiatus, we need to get excitement going. So yeah, I mean, the way I'm going on, it sounds like it's more awful than it was, but this is just more overarching problems with the season that I think was highlighted by this. And like, the last 5 minutes of excitement isn't anything to super celebrate. Like, a lot of people are like, oh my god, it was so good. I'm like, it really wasn't. Even if it had been better done, it would be paint by the numbers stuff. Like, I do like that they give sort of some sort of excitement or cliffhanger to lead into the hiatus. It's a good way to keep people interested. I've had discussions about this with people where people don't like that, whether it's a cliffhanger between mid-season or between the seasons themselves, but you kind of need that to generate any kind of interest. Like, you know, whether it's us fans or like casual fans that aren't part of the main fandom or kids, like they might watch this episode and be like, oh man, when's it coming back? And then they look it up and say, okay, it's gonna be on hiatus, but I want to remember that because I want to find out what happens. And if it just ended on a random episode, it'll go out of your mind easier. I honestly don't remember, I probably should have looked it up before this, but I don't remember what Supercharge did for its mid-season thing. I remember I kind of liked the way Dino Charge did it because it was an episode about the quest for the charger that Fury had, and so it was like a good tie to like the main plot, which was find the Energems, and it was also tying into like the mini plot of the Gold Ranger foreshadowing. And like the way they ended the episode wasn't like a cliffhanger, it was more like a to be continued. And I thought that was a kind of well done note to end on before the hiatus, because it wasn't like, oh no, the Rangers are in peril, what's going to happen? It was like, oh, I can't wait to see the story continue, because you wanted to find more out about the whole overall plot and, you know, the Gold Ranger stuff, you know, especially for those of us that knew the Gold Ranger was coming. But yeah, overall, this was an okay episode at best. I would give it a 6, but it's just, I'm bothered by the fact that this problem of the A plot being the B or C plot, and like the filler plots being the A plot, which is something that's persisted since Supercharge and continued here. And that's like a huge problem that I feel I really want to I really want to see be fixed in the future for Power Rangers, because Power Rangers is always going to have filler and quieter moments. It's never going to be serialized, even though I'd like to see some serialized series. But don't make it feel like the A plot is an afterthought. It feels weird, especially the way they do it. But anyway, that's about it. Ninja Steel reviews for me will return in the fall when they come back. You know, I'll probably have other content sort of semi-related to it over the course of the hiatus. You know, probably some Power Rangers videos and stuff, obviously, some news videos, so look forward to that. But anyway, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Awesome Rider, signing out.